Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shaniece, and if you're not new here, thank you for coming back. Today will be a how to highlight and contour, or how to highlight and contour like a UK baddie. So today I'm teaching you how I do my base. So I go through how I highlight and contour, obviously, and how I set my powder and bronze and everything base related, basically. So if you like how my makeup looks here, stay tuned for the rest of the video. In the meantime, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. I will catch you in the next video. Don't want to hold you too long. Bye. I like to start my makeup is I will put on my primer and then I'll do my eyebrows. So the primer I'm going to wear today is the Laura Mercier Perfecting Pure Canvas Primer. I tap it around my face like a moisturizer because it actually feels like a moisturizer. I have already done my skincare routine, if you can call it that. My face is moisturized, so I'm just putting on my primer on top. And now I'm going to do my eyebrows off camera. My eyebrows are done. I think they're kind of decent. And yes, I am fully aware I am stuck in 2017 with the eyebrows. As you can see, I don't have eyebrows of my own, so I need to fill it out to the max. My next step is to color correct, and I color correct with the LA Gold Pro Concealer in the shade Orange. This is how mine look like right now. I don't know what happened here. I color correct to even out my dark areas of my face, which is around my mouth and under my eyes. When I blend out my orange concealer, it looks like the rest of my face. It shouldn't look like an orange area of your face. For your color corrector, you only need the smallest amount. So just a little flick, that's all you need. I might do some here. If you have some scars around your face, you can use the orange corrector to even out the skin tone to blend in with the rest of your face. So now I'm going to put on foundation. Recently I've been using two foundations. I use the NARS Soft Matte Foundation in the shade Zambie for the top half of my face. And I use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Foundation for the bottom half of my face. So I'm going in with the NARS first. I'm blending out my foundation with the Morphe E44 brush. When you blend out your foundation, always make sure you go down your neck. You don't want that line of makeup. Now everything is blended out, it's time for the highlight and concealer. It's time for the highlight and contour. For my highlighting concealer, I use around 2 to 3 different shades, and I like to start with the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Chestnut. I use that for the top half of my face, so I'll go under my eye, on my forehead, on my lips, and down my nose. And I'll use the LA Gold Pro Concealer in the shade Beautiful Bronze for my chin and under my cheekbones. In my previous video, I did both my highlight and contour at the same time for the sake of thumbnail, but I don't need to do that anymore. In real life, I apply my highlighter, blend it out, put on my lighter shade, blend it out, and then I'll do my contour. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I like to blend out my concealer with a brush first and then finish it off with my sponge. So I'll go from my bottom to the top. That way I leave my under eye the most time to blend out. So I'm going to do my chin and under my cheekbones first. Hold on, wait a minute. Not you about to watch me blend out the rest of my face without subscribing. Come on, I know you know better than that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and like this video because you're still here. Let's get back to it. For my under eye, I like to blend it out halfway, then blend out my forehead, and then I'll finish blending it out with my sponge. So I'm gonna blend it out halfway with my brush first, and then I'll blend out my forehead. I like to pat it in place and like join the front dot with the back dot. In my last video I told you to drag it down and I apologize. I'm sorry for that. I told you to take it and then drag it down. Don't do that. So I pat it in place and then I slowly move the concealer to where I want it to be. So I'll pat it. I blend out the outside of my concealer first and then I'll go inside, if that makes sense. So I'll blend out the outside. That way it doesn't move further down than I want it to be. So I'll blend out the outside like that. And I'll leave it like that. So I'll tap it and then join the two lines. And I'll bring it up a little bit. And then I will blend out the outside of the concealer. I do it like this, so when it dries down further, I don't have a line of concealer I need to blend out. The edges of the concealer is blended out, so even if it dries down a lot more than I want it to, it still looks flawless. For my forehead, I do flicks down towards the center of my face. And I use the sponge to blend out the edges. So now I'm going to blend in the inside of my under eye with my sponge. Now that's all blended, I'm going to apply my lighter concealer. I'm going to use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer in the shade Warm Honey, and I'll put that in the center of my face, and I'll drag it up halfway my eye. Now I'm going to use a dense small blending brush and I'm gonna tap around the edges of that to keep it where I want to be. I'm dragging out a little bit so it blends in with my other concealer, and I'm going to use my sponge to blend out the rest of it. I'm going to use a fluffy brush just to like blend out my nose highlighter. I think I put too much on my nose. You know what? I can blend it out with the rest of my face because it's the contour that will make the nose look snatched. So let me just, if it gets messy it's fine because the contour will neaten it up. Now I'm going to contour, and I'm going to contour with the Fenty Beauty concealer stick in the shade Ebony. So instead of doing swipes on my cheekbone, I like to do 2 dots on my cheekbone. So I do this and I do this. I like to use it on my forehead and my jawline. For my nose, I like to put the product on a small brush so I can control the contour. So I like to do this, and then I'll bring it from under my eyebrow to halfway down my nose. Okay, from here. The closer you put the line, the smaller your nose will look. So from under my eyebrow to the side of your nose, and I put it on the end to shorten it a bit, and I'll put it here just to give myself a button nose. I like to start blending out my cheekbones first. So I'll blend it out in circles and now towards the center of my face, just a little bit. With this stage, instead of using my sponge to blend out my contour, I like to use my foundation brush. I love this tip so much because the foundation brush still has product on it and it will bridge the gap between the light concealer and your dark concealer, so it blends in together better. So you can see here my light concealer here and then my dark concealer right here. So I use my foundation brush to bridge the gap between that and blend the edge evenly. I just use my foundation brush for my jawline. For my nose, before I used to just keep going up and down to blend out my nose contour. Recently, I've learned to blend my nose contour sideways to make it look more natural. If you think about it, the purpose of contour is to create shadow. If you blend it out sideways a little bit, it will look more of a shadow than a line. I go up and down and then I'll go sideways. And that's all of my highlight and contour completely blended out. So now I'm going to set my concealers. And I'm going to use two setting powders, both Huda Beauty. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty in the shade Blondie and the Huda Beauty in the shade Cinnamon Bun. These two. I use Blondie under my eye and then I use Cinnamon Bun for the rest of my face. I put it right here, right next to the nose contour to neaten it up, and then I'll drag it out a bit. When I put the powder on the sponge, I like to tap it right here just to even out the application on the sponge, because when it's even on the sponge, it's even on your face. And I use Blondie for my nose as well, but I use a really small pencil brush for my nose, just so I can control the powder. So I'll tap it down, all the way down, and then I'll do like an upside down T. So I'll tap it down. Now my under eye is done, I'm going to use Cinnamon Bun. But instead of the top of the sponge, I like to use the bottom to give it a less noticeable finish. And I'll go under like that. And then on my forehead. Now that I'm done, I wipe it off. So I like to use this angle brush. I leave my under eye to stay there until I'm finished with my base. So I'll go in circles and then I'll blend out the powder. Now I'm going to do my bronzer. I'm going to use the Morphe bronzer in the shade Prodigy. For my bronzer, I'm going to use the Morphe R14 brush to blend out my bronzer. I'll tap my bronzer and I'll tap off the excess, and then I start in the areas that I've contoured. I like to bronze here, but a bit closer to the center of my face. I'll go in circles, and then I'll gently bronze the area. On my forehead I flick down as always, and on my cheekbones I go in circles. And I use a small fluffy brush just to do the sides of my nose. I like to blend out everything I do, so I'm just blending it out more with a clean brush. So that's my bronzer done. I'm going to use the cinnamon bun powder to clean up under my cheekbones. So I'm just going to drag it like that, tap it. So now I'm going to put on my blush. I don't put it at the center of my cheeks. I like to also have a lifted effect with my blush. And I'll go in a bit, tap off, and then I'll stay in the high points of my cheeks. And I like to put a little bit on my nose. There we go. Now I'm going to use a clean fluffy brush to blend out my under eye powder and then my under cheekbone powder. I think I am done. So I've done my foundation, my highlight and contour. I did my bronzer, I did my setting powder, and I did my blush. So now it's time for me to finish my makeup and wrap up the video. I'll see you in a second. So that is it, guys. That is how I highlight and contour. That's how I do my base as a UK babe. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Feel free to check me out on Instagram at Shaniece or TikTok at Shaniece, maybe Twitter at Shaniece. My name has been Shaniece and I will see you in the next video. If you have nothing else to do, why don't you check out these two videos here? I only put these for you, so might as well check them out. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.